Now, let's get into our essay. So what we're doing here, we're on page number 4. You have your marking scheme on the bottom of page number 4. You'll see it says exactly what I was speaking about here. 2 Irish igneous rocks named, basalt granite 2 + 2, explanation 13 SRPs, and then they say for your example, second bullet point down, your relevant example, or basically you're getting 2 SRPs, okay? Now, on page number 4, just to start off with a little brief overview of both. So have the highlighter, the pen at the ready. So igneous rocks are formed when molten rock, which cools and solidifies, highlight cools and solidifies. Remember, solidifies means to become solid, either on or below the Earth's surface. So either magma/lava, which we'll talk about in a second, cools on or below the Earth's surface. Now, there's 2 groups of igneous rocks. The first one, highlight the word intrusive, circular, underline the in. Intrusive rocks are formed inside the Earth's surface. So underneath the Earth's surface, inside the Earth's surface, okay? So intrusive rocks, and that, can I say, I'm going to say this came up something, part A came up in 2017, POP 2017 part A beside intrusive rocks. Intrusive rocks were formed when magma cools, highlight deep, highlight magma. Magma cools deep within the Earth's crust. So magma is molten rock or semi-molten rock underneath the Earth's surface, in the Earth's surface, okay? And that cools very slowly underneath the Earth's surface. As magma cools, highlight the words very slowly. These rocks produce, highlight, large crystals. Intrusive rocks are 2 types. The first one there, highlight the word plutonic. That was the one they asked you to briefly explain plutonic. So write down 2017 part A beside that. Define, briefly explain, define plutonic rock. And that's just an intrusive rock. And that's a rock, and then you have basically your intermediate hyperblast. That'll probably more than likely never be asked, to be honest, which is dolomite. Just 2 different ways of describing intrusive rocks. Now our second one is extrusive. Highlight extrusive and underline EX. EX for exit. Think about the magma is on the Earth's surface. When magma comes onto the Earth's surface, it's referred to as lava. So lava, highlight the word lava, solidifies on the Earth's surface, highlight on or near the Earth's surface. As the lava cools very, very quickly, highlight the word quickly, small crystals are formed. And our example there is basalt. Basalt is our extrusive rock. Now, we're going to pop across to start our essay. Now, you don't have to include what's on page 4, that's more so pop a bracket around that part A, short questions only. So we're going to start into our essay for our rocks. Now, we're going to start on page number 5 first for granite. So we're going to start off with our granite rock. Now, maybe pause the video for a second, have a read down through it. Some people will say to me, it's very strange, you'll see the numbers down the side, you'll see your little box down the side, but this is what I say to people. If you start trying to learn sentence by sentence, and I suppose this is what this course is about, giving you really, really quick tips and tricks so that you're going to make the most out of these notes. But if you start trying to learn that first sentence and you're like, okay, first sentence, granite is a plutonic igneous rock, and then you go on and start to learn the second sentence, and then you forgot the first sentence. You can't learn sentence by sentence by sentence by sentence for every single essay on the geography course. That's not possible. Okay, so you need to come up with inventive ways, which I try to do, try my best to do, to learn these essays. Now, for your 2 igneous rock essays, what you're going to see is on the board I have 9 words. I have 9 words: name, formation, minerals, colour, silica content, texture, use, origin, explain. Now this is our structure for these 2 essays. So this is our structure. So look, so the first thing I would say to you, if you were in this classroom with me now, which unfortunately you can't be, I would say, okay, I'll give you 2 minutes, look at the board, learn this off by heart. Okay, so you can try to do it at home. Then I would say, turn the page over, write down them 9 words. Go. And I keep making you do that until you had these 9 words. Now, why would I bother doing that? Because once you have these 9 words, which doesn't have anything beside them, you have the structure of this essay learnt. The next thing I would do is if you look at the bottom of page number 5, and I don't have time to do it now, but generally if you were here, I would keep drilling the right hand side of that box into you. I keep going around and getting you to learn these words and learn these words and learn these words and go over these words. And never looking at an essay, but just to drill in the idea of what are my keywords? And I promise you, if you do that with every essay, as we're going to do in grinds, you're going to find these essays so much easier to learn, because you're not going to be learning sentence by sentence by sentence or chunks of text. You're going to walk into your exam, you're going to have a structure, you're going to have your keywords, and believe me, it will come back to you then, them essays. So we're going to start off on page number 5, and I'm going to take you down through this essay. So here, our first keyword is name. Now, you'll notice I have the numbers already put here for you. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. So name, granite. Highlight the word granite there. So my name here, and you'll notice in the box, granite is my key word. Granite is a plutonic or intrusive igneous rock, okay? So my name is granite, plutonic or intrusive igneous rock. Number 2, and if you want to write these words out on the left-hand side of the essay, do that. Really helps someone, sometimes in a red pen or a green pen or whatever it is formation. So our second point here is going to talk about our formation. It is formed when molten magma, highlight the word intrudes. When molten magma intrudes into the Earth's crust. So basically we're saying when magma seeps into the Earth's crust, the magma cools and solidifies very, very slowly. If you want to highlight the word slowly, do, okay? And sometimes people will like to put in additional words down on that box, so you might write down slowly if you want. Cools very, very slowly over millions of years. Now, why does it cool so slowly? It cools so slowly because it's insulated by surrounding rock types, okay? So it's insulated by surrounding rock layers of slate and quartz usually. It has, if you want to highlight, large crystals. And why has it large crystals? As they were formed due to slow cooling, okay? So you might say large crystals. You might not want to put these words down, but sometimes to start off it helps it. Now, again, if you sat in front of me, I'd say, I'm going to give you 2 seconds, I want you to learn that. I want you to learn what's on the board, I want you to keep reading over that again and again and again. And you turn around to me and I unfortunately pick one unlucky character in the room out and I'd say, okay, name. Okay, what are we going to say? Granite is a plutonic or intrusive igneous rock, okay? Number 2, we're talking about its formation. So we've 4 words here. Can we get something similar? So granite was formed when magma intrudes into the Earth's crust. It cools very, very slowly over millions of years as it's insulated by surrounding rock types. And slate and quartzite sounds familiar. It forms large crystals inside it as it cools so slowly. Now, if you keep doing it like this, so going through it, main points, learning this, having this in front of you, this is going to be very easy. And keep going back. Now, number 3, we're discussing our minerals, okay? I love this part, okay? So our different minerals. Write it on the left-hand side if you need to. Granite consists of 3 main minerals: quartz, feldspar, and mica. Now, say a promise to yourself that you're always going to say them in the exact order I have them wrote down there. Learn them in this order and never change it, okay? So, granite has 3 main minerals: quartz, feldspar, and mica. Now, quartz grains are clear and glassy, feldspar vary from white to pink, and crystals of mica are black, okay? So, quartz grains, clear and glassy, feldspar vary from white to pink, and crystals of mica, and remember it's crystals of mica, but you'll get that after a while, are black. Go back to the start of the essay. What do we know? Name. Granite is a plutonic or intrusive igneous rock formation. It's formed when magma intrudes into the Earth's surface. It cools slowly over millions of years as it's insulated by surrounding layers of rock such as slate and quartzite. Large crystals form as it cools so slowly. Minerals. There are 3 main minerals: quartz, feldspar, and mica. Quartz grains are clear and glassy. Feldspar vary from white to pink, and crystals of mica are black. Now if you keep doing this, again, you're going to get this. Number 4, our next point is on our colour. So we're talking about a dark grey colour. Pop the word colour to the side. Granite normally has a dark grey colour. However, variations in colour may occur due to variations in mineral content. So depending on if there's more quartz, it's going to be clear and kind of glassier. Feldspar, it's going to have that more white tinge, and it's going to be quite dark if there's a lot of mica in it. So I'm going to be writing down dark grey. But I'm going to pop down the word varies, or variation. I'm just going to pop down vary. And I'm going to draw an arrow up to the minerals, because granite is a dark grey colour, however variations occur due to variations in these minerals and their content. Now over to number 5, we have our silica content. Now, and if you don't know, starting off here, I suppose besides silica, silica is what makes magma or lava explosive. And I suppose if you've done your volcanic activity and your plate tectonics, you'll know this. If you haven't, you may not. Silica is, we might say, let's just say we see, you know, a volcano. It's not going to happen here, okay, thankfully. But let's just say a volcano is erupting, okay, and it's, you know, like a fireworks show. It's really explosive and obviously really dangerous and damaging. More than likely, actually definitely, there's going to be a high silica content in that magma or lava. If we see, on the other hand, a real kind of gentle eruption of a volcano, so really kind of like a river, not very explosive, maybe not very dangerous, that would mean there's a low silica content. Why is that? Silica, the higher the silica content, the more difficult the gases find it to escape, okay? So if there's a high silica content, it's going to be really, really difficult. There's going to be a huge build-up in the magma or the lava, and there's going to be quite a big explosion. Whereas if you have a low silica content, it'll be the opposite, okay? It'll be nice and gentle. Now what we know here is that in granite, and you'll know this already, there is a high silica content, usually above 70%. So we're on point number 5, again, silica content. So here, granite has a silica content close to 70%. Now that's quite high, and that means that it is referred to as an acidic rock. Okay, pop that down. So it's quite high and it's referred to as an acidic rock. Feldspar and silica combined, we refer to them as quartz, form most of the rock, and therefore the term highlight felsic. I'm going to pop down felsic here. The term felsic applies to them. Now on to 6. 6, we're talking about the texture, how it feels, and what we know is that it's a coarse-grained rock. So coarse-grained rock, number 6. So granite is a coarse-grained rock which is very resistant to erosion, and as a result it's in high demand as a building material for bridges and all sorts of buildings. But it's coarse, very resistant, it's very hard, so if you had it outside and you know maybe there was rain and storms, it wouldn't weather that easily. Number 7 is its use. Now generally we see granite when it is polished, so we see granite on our countertops, on headstones, a little bit more of it, sometimes granite fireplaces we see. So its use generally we see it when it's polished, so just to point that out. So polished granite is used for countertops, it's used for floor tiles, it's used for headstones. But when granite is actually broken down, it's weathered, it's broken down, it produces kaolin, okay, or china clay. So you'll notice here I have china clay down, or sometimes we refer to it as kaolin, okay? Think about the girl's name, kaolin. And where that's used is china clay. It's used in the porcelain industry. So some of you may have a creepy porcelain doll up in the corner of your, someone's room, or you might go to someone's house like your granny's and look up in the corner and think, oh, that doll is watch me. That's a porcelain doll, okay? And that's produced from china clay. That's made from china clay, weathered down granite and basalt. Now coming near the end of this, and again we have a little bit more than the, I suppose, the SRPs we need, but that's a good thing. Ireland. So Ireland, what do we know about Ireland? In Ireland, granite was formed 400 million years ago. Okay? During the Caledonian, highlight 400 million and highlight Caledonian, during the Caledonian folding periods. And today it's exposed in the Leinster batholith. Highlight Leinster batholith. Leinster batholith you will need for volcanic activity, okay? You'll need it when you're referring to plate tectonics and volcanic activity in Irish landforms. Our last one is our example, and we know this already, we mentioned it at the top. The last one is the Wicklow Mountains. So Wicklow Mountains, County Wicklow. Now, I went through that quite quickly, particularly towards the end, but I hope we got the idea from the start. It's the idea of learning your structure, learning your keywords, and then go back in and step by step. You do not need every single word the exact same, but if you walked into the exam, would you be able to say, name granite? Granite's a plutonic or intrusive igneous rock formation, okay, in truth. It's formed when magma, make sure you don't say lava, magma is under the Earth's surface, magma intrudes into the Earth's crust, it cools very, very, very slowly, okay, as it's insulated by surrounding rock layers such as slate and quartzite. Large crystals formed due to it being cooled very, very slowly. Granite has three main minerals: quartz, feldspar, mica. Quartz grains, clear and glassy. Feldspar vary from white to pink. Crystals of mica are black. Colour. Granite is usually a dark grey to black colour. However, variations in colour may occur due to variations in colour content. I sound like someone on an advertisement here now. Number 5 is silica content. What makes something explosive, volcano explosive? Granite has a high silica content, usually around the 70% marker, which means it's an acidic rock. It is a high content, look at this word, fel and sic, okay? It has a high, we'll see it there, it has a high feldspar and silica content, okay? FeL stands for feldspar, we'll see it over here, SiL silica content, which means the term felsic applies. It's a coarse grain rock, which means it's very resistant to weathering and erosion, and therefore is in high demand as a building material for building of buildings, bridges, whatever it may be. It's used, polished granite. Polished granite is used for countertops, floor tiles. However, when it's broken down by weathering and erosion, it produces kaolin or china clay, which is used in that creepy porcelain industry, okay? Clearly I have a little bit of a phobia. Number 8, okay? Number 8 is Ireland. Granite in Ireland was produced 400 million years ago during the Caledonian Fold Mountain period and is exposed at the Leinster batholith today. Finally, our example, granite is found in the Wicklow Mountains. Full stop. Now, I probably went a bit fast through it there, but you have all this information. Now you've got this information, you're going to keep learning this again and again and again, just like I have done like a parrot for the last 10 years basically, going through this and going through this and going through this. And you can do the exact same. It doesn't need to be word perfect, but by learning this, I hit my main points constantly, and that's what you need to do. And you need to train yourself. Now, that's more than you need. Obviously, that's, you know, that there is approximately your 7-8 SRPs, it is, okay, without the example and without the name marks, okay, so there's always a little bit of room for manoeuvring in my essays, okay, because I'm always afraid someone will forget something. Let's get to the second half of this essay. So that's granite, let's get to basalt. Now, for basalt, when we go across the page, the same structure applies, and you're going to find straight away that a lot of the information is just like a contradiction of what we have for granite. So over on page number 6, we're looking at basalt. Same structure, okay? Now, you know a lot of information about basalt, whether it's from junior cert, whether it's from studying in 5th year, whether you love basalt and you have a collection at home, whatever it is, okay? So you know a lot of this information already. So you just need to get the facts, that you're not waffling and repeating yourself and just writing 92 pages about how you love it, okay? So page number 6, let's get through it. Same structure, keeping the structure. If you want, pause the video, learn the table on the bottom. I would advise you to do that, and I make any of my students do that before we start learning this, okay? So page number 6, we're on to our extrusive rock. So name, number 1, pop the words on the side, name, formation, minerals, colour, silica content, texture, use, Ireland, explain. Pop them on the side if you need to. Basalt, highlight the word basalt. Basalt is the most common volcanic or extrusive igneous rock, okay? So it's the most common volcanic, the word volcanic can be involved as well, or extrusive igneous rock. Now, First thing, name 2 marks straight away. Number 2, we're speaking about its formation. Now, if we think back to granite was formed inside the Earth's surface, which means basalt is the opposite and it's formed on. So we're going to be talking about lava cooling. And because it's on the Earth's surface, we know it's going to cool really, really quickly, which means it's going to have the opposite type of crystals, which means small crystals, okay? So we want to make sure we have the main information in our head. So basalt forms when magma flows onto the Earth's surface. At this point, it's called lava. Okay, highlight the word Earth's surface and highlight lava. So our key word here is going to be Earth's surface. Now you could put down lava obviously if you want. So it's formed when magma flows onto the Earth's surface. At this point it's referred to as lava. When lava is exposed to air or water, so remember the lava could be on the ocean floor, it cools and solidifies rapidly. Highlight rapidly. You might quickly if you want. Doesn't really matter, your phrasing doesn't matter there, okay, just the keywords. Due to the low silica content. Highlight low silica content if you want, and we have it a little bit later on. As the lava cools quickly, small crystals form. Okay, now I did mention the silica here. You'll notice this essay is a little bit more confined because granite is our main one. Now, let's get on to our minerals. So number 3 are minerals. Basalt is composed of 2 main minerals, quartz and feldspar. Now, I always write these in the same order because quartz grains are clear and glassy. You know, I've learned them in that way, okay? So, quartz and feldspar. Basalt has a high magnesium and iron content, and therefore the term mafic, highlight the word mafic applies. Okay, think Ma for magnesium and Ic for iron. Okay. Now, after that, our colour. So we get on to our colour. So colour is, we're on number 4, apologies. So basalt is a black or a dark grey coloured rock, okay? So usually, if you see the picture of them, and you do need to know the pictures of them, this is just a plain black. It nearly looks like a piece of coal. It's not a piece of coal, but it's that kind of soot black colour, okay? Whereas you'll notice the granite is kind of sparkly, okay? So make sure you do know the pictures as well. So it's a black or dark grey in colour with microscopic crystals. You can't even see them. Noticing this is a lot more refined. Now I might take a break there for a second. Not as much detail as the last one on purpose. This is our second one. This is kind of our backup if they ask us for 2. Name, basalt. Basalt is the most common volcanic or extrusive igneous rock. Its formation is formed when magma reaches or flows onto the Earth's surface. At this point it's called lava. It cools very, very quickly when it's exposed to air and or water. As a result, small microscopic crystals form, and that's due to the low silica content, which you can pull in there. The minerals. There's 2 main minerals, quartz and feldspar. However, the rock has a high magnesium and iron content, and therefore the term mafic applies. Basalt is a black or a dark grey coloured rock with microscopic crystals. Now, on to the last part here, our silica content. Or not the last part, the second part. So our silica content is a lot lower here, which we mentioned up here. So usually the silica content is less than 55%. And if it's less than 55%, the same as we described with lava, which you would have seen when you did your plate tectonics, it's basic. We refer to it as a basic rock. Okay? So number 5 here, basalt is a basic, highlight the word basic, igneous rock, as it contains less than 55% silica. So it's that kind of really gentle lava that flows out onto the Earth's surface. Number 6 is in relation to its texture, and its texture is quite hard. So basalt is a hard rock and is very resistant to weathering and erosion, which makes it suitable as a building material. So it's kind of a similar thing to say. It's resistant, it's hard, just a change in phrasing there. use-wise, it's mainly used for roach chippings. Randomly enough. Okay. So number 7, crushed basalt. Crushed basalt is used for road chippings. Highlight their road chippings. When basalt is weathered, it forms a deep, fertile soil that's found in the coffee growing regions of Brazil and the cash crop regions of the south of Italy, or the Mezzogiorno. Now that sentence you'll see later on in other essays as well. So road chippings, we can also say fertile soils. So when granite is weathered and eroded and broken down, it produces kaolin or trinic. When basalt, it produces a fertile soil. So that's the way we're kind of going with this. After that, number 8, we have our, I suppose, where in Ireland, or when in Ireland it was formed. It was formed 60 million years ago. In the Antrim Derry Plateaus. So in Ireland, basalt covers areas such as the Antrim Derry Plateaus, which includes the Giant's Causeway. And people get confused with this. The Antrim Derry Plateaus is quite a large area, whereas the Giant's Causeway is only a tiny little section of that. It's that them columns or hexagons that you see on all the Fáilte Ireland ad and Northern Ireland ads. Okay, formed approximately 60 million years ago. Okay, here when lava cooled and contracted and cracked to produce these kind of hexagonal columns. So you'd see them, they're very, very famous. I like that. I'm definitely not an artist now, okay? So I don't teach art here, so, just don't worry about that. Last one, number 9, is our example. Our example here is the Giant's Causeway. County Antrim, or you can say the Antrim Derry Plateaus, it doesn't really matter, both are basalt. Now, usually I have a class sitting in front of me, and when I go down through this and I'm going to say I beat it into you a little bit, okay, and I keep going back to you and make you say it, and I can guarantee you if you stop and start this video and keep going back and doing it with me and saying, starting and then doing the first 2 and 3 and 4, once you get this learned, you'd know this, okay? You'd have this essay learned in this hour and 15 minutes that we have here today, okay? And that's what I do with you in these grinds, okay? Now, I don't use this technique for every single essay. This is not the technique I always use, because if I use this with every single essay, you'd never remember the rest of them, okay? So I use a different technique for every essay, but kind of the same principles apply. We get our structure, we learn what our structure is going to be, we learn our keywords, and then we go back in and learn and understand the information, and sometimes add in additional bits that you might know that we may want to put in, okay? But that's really, really important. So that essay there is looking at basalt and granite, your 2 igneous rocks, little bit of excess information as you will see yourself, but that's never bad, because under pressure on the day, you're going to forget a little bit. Remember, 30 mark question, 15 significant relevant points, 15 minutes. So guys, just a quick, I suppose, just at the end, if you're interested in coming to Grinds, just to let you know when they're on and what we are actually going to be starting with in September. So in September, I suppose, when they are, Thursdays 7:30 to 8:45 with myself, and also Saturdays with myself 9 to 10:15 a.m. So both an hour and 15 minutes. Now, what we'll be doing in them 29 classes is we'll be going through the entire course with the exception of one question on the paper. So pretty much we're doing over 90% of the paper in the lessons and kind of pinpointing the main things that are going to come up in your exam. I'm not going to be doing material that hasn't come up or that isn't going to come up. We're going to be focusing on what is coming up in June 2021. That is the main idea of our classes. So in the classes in September, okay, for yourself, and this is just from feedback I've got from students, we're going to be starting with our geoecology in September. Now, as I mentioned at the very, very start of the lesson, why we're going to start with our geoecology is that we can do 20% of your written paper by the end of September. And that's what we're going to do. So in our first weeks in class, our first couple of weeks, we're going to do our geoecology. We're going to get our geoecology done, dusted, and out of the way, and have that 20% in the bag, so that you're going back on the material that you've probably then done already in class. So going back on our physical, going back on our regional, and also having a look at, so not just as much detail, at our environmental and economics. So the question that kind of crosses over we'll be doing for both. So guys, hope to see you in September, and I hope you enjoyed this course, particularly since it was during your summer holidays. So well done, guys.